Since it went on mainnet about 3 weeks ago, we've seen that there are 6 applications that are already live and operating at the moment. And they include, as we've highlighted here in bold, Eigen Data Availability Layer, Alt Layer, Brevis, eOracle, and some of these other ones. We're not really going to get into what they are, but we just want to highlight that the whole ecosystem of Eigen Layer services that have subscribed into this type of mechanism, there are more than there are more than 60 to 70 services that are running on top of Eigen. So we're just saying this to show that there is a kind of a risk-averse way for Eigen to roll out this service, because it's quite a big responsibility. Like the amount of ETH that is being used in Eigen Layer is more than 10%. So of course, they have a responsibility, and they should be accountable for any type of a domino effect that they could have on the Ethereum network. So it's good that things are being taken in a baby step, that we're not just seeing everything happen at the same time. Cool. So with that said, the risks of EigenLayer is something that we really shouldn't gloss over, because it's quite baffling how you can have this type of innovation without really having consequences to it. So what do I mean by that? If you have an application or a network that is running on top of Eigen or on top of Eigen, then you have heightened smart contract risk. So what do I mean by that? In Ethereum, if you are a validator, you are slashed, meaning that some of your staked collateral gets penalized, and like a small portion of it gets taken away if you act in any sort of malicious or dishonest way. So with Eigen, you have 2 layers, or you have 2 layers. So that's just in terms of slashing. But in terms of the smart contract risk itself, you're not just concerned about Ethereum anymore. You're also concerned about what happens on the secondary or on the additional layer that works on top of Eigen. So of course, this makes the situation a little bit more volatile. And of course, it requires validators or operators to be more active, to be aware of what's going on. When we talk about the slashing cascades, what I mean here is that, for example, if there is a significant portion of ETH that is locked in a specific application, and then let's hypothetically say that this application runs into some kind of an issue, and we don't, again, it's not something intended, it's an unintended mistake, but then this leads to a huge portion of ETH that is being staked there to be slashed. Of course, this is really bad for the crypto economic security of Ethereum, because we're not trying to allow validators to earn more yield in exchange for putting the Ethereum security at more risk. This is not the objective of what we're trying to do here. So the good thing with Eigen is that they have something called a veto committee, which is essentially a committee that oversees how this process is working, and they see if the slashing was being called for an actual honest or for a dishonest mistake. If it is for a dishonest mistake, then at least in the interim period, or at least for the first few months, they would have the capacity to veto such event in order to just make sure that everything is running as normal. There's also the problem of centralization or concentration in Eigen. So what do here is you could have a lot of applications running on top of Ethereum security. Of course, Ethereum in it of itself, it's really decentralized because we have more than 900,000 validators backing the security of Ethereum. But it introduces a single point of failure to an extent, because it means that if anything happens to Ethereum, then all of those applications are put at risk. And then finally, for liquid restaking solutions, some of the applications that allow you to deposit your ETH or your LSD into the protocol in exchange for this LRT, they don't really enable withdrawals yet, which means that we could have a scenario of liquidity risk where users are keen on exchanging this LRT to Ethereum on the secondary market. But again, because withdrawals are not enabled yet, those type of secondary markets would have quite minimal liquidity, which of course, in a scenario of an extreme market downturn, we could see that the selling pressure could really amplify the damage that is being done to these protocols just in terms of price action. There's so much more to talk about Eigen, to be very frank and to be very honest, but we're going to keep it short here because we do have one more story. But again, be on the lookout for our newsletters, because this is something we will continue to talk about over and over again over the next months.